Welcome to FM Corner. I'm Danny Koontz, Director of Relationship Management for Windy City Equipment. Today we're going to talk about perception. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it both? What does it really mean? People talk about my perception of this is, or my understanding of this is whatever, good or bad or whatever it may be. We've all dealt with it. We've dealt with our perception. Typically, a lot of times it's of people or a company. They're really good. No, they're not. Maybe they are. Sometimes it all depends. It's defined as the lens in which we see the reality. So it means different things. And many times different people look at the same thing, not in the same lens. I'm looking at something, if I'm a facility manager, and say it's a company I'm doing business with. I'm looking at how they perform, how they deliver service. Are they responsive? Do they do the things they're supposed to? My boss might be the VP of Construction and Development. You know what he's looking at? Price. He's looking at price. Are they good? Probably depends on the cheaper they are. If they're cheaper, they're good. If they're higher, they're not. He sees that customer through a different lens than I do, because my role is more boots on the ground in working with them than someone who's looking at them as a budget number for service. That's natural. So it's the lens in which they look at. If you have a positive perception of someone, that's typically because they react in a manner that you kind of think is right. You kind of agree with the manner in which they think. They think along the same lines of you, so your perception of someone is the same as someone else. Or, and hope nobody listening today is one of these people. You made your value of the perception of a person or a company based on the last thing you heard. That's not good. Because that means you may have loved them up till 10 minutes ago and then you heard something that wasn't great. Now all of a sudden they're no good. One episode doesn't define anybody or anything. It's typically a pattern. Otherwise, nobody would ever make a mistake. Things would be great. That doesn't happen. On the other hand, if you have negative perception of someone, it's typically because the people you talk to don't feel that the company or the person, whoever it is you're talking about, they don't do things in the same manner they do. They don't think the same way they do. So they take that perception. Many times it's what you heard, not what you've seen. Here's what I heard. And that's how I form my opinion and my perception of this. But you didn't see it. You weren't there. It's only what you're being told. And you don't necessarily know the reasons behind the person telling you what they're telling you. What's their motivation in that? Again, it all comes back to lens. Many times your initial perception of a person or a company can be wrong. I had companies that I did not do business with to start with when they first made a presentation because my perception was I didn't think it was good. It turned out, years later, I used them 100%. Went from 0 to 100. My first perception was wrong. Sometimes it's right. So you can't make it quick and then that's the end of it. You have to work at it. Perception is what you see. Sometimes a person that gives you really short answers, maybe they're really efficient, but they're just very short. So your perception is he or she's not a nice person. Could be the furthest thing from the truth. They're just businesslike. And in the way they go about their day-to-day business, they deliver short, quick messages and move on. Or they want to keep you on task. You want to talk about this and they're trying to keep you on task at hand of something that had been brought up earlier. It's not they don't want to hear what you're talking about, but they're task oriented. That just may be the way they are. That's okay too. It doesn't define whether they're a good or a bad person. So be careful with perception. Perception also people play to using an example of a person who communicates, and they don't communicate very well with you, but they communicate great with your boss. Is that because they like your boss? They don't like you? Or is it your boss's position that gets the answer? Be careful in how you form that perception of that particular person. Everyone deserves a positive perception from others, and you should start with positive every time when you meet a new person or start to talk with them. Make sure what lens you're looking through. Are you being consistent? Are you looking at it the same way? And what are the things that are leading you to think that the perception is going to be negative? Is it you? Is it because they don't think like you? Well, that doesn't make them wrong. That just means they have a different opinion. So be careful when you start to form that perception of people, because typically once you form it, you're going to tell other people about it. And what if you're wrong? That's a big hill for that person to climb if the perception you have given is wrong. So try to look beyond the glass, understand the person, understand the way they do business, and form your opinion. Every person in your life or every person you meet, your perception of them may not be positive. And that's okay. That's natural. But be careful what lens you're looking through as you're trying to determine what your perception is going to be. And then look at it again later. Does it change? Sometimes it will change. Perception can be good, helps us form some opinions, but perception can also be bad. Manage that bad every time. It's our episode today about perception. Hope you enjoyed it. Look forward to seeing you next week.